May 16, 1943. RAF Scampton, Lincolnshire. The night is still, except for the slow, metallic clatter of bomb trolleys echoing across the tarmac. Inside a dimly lit hangar, aircrew of Britain's newest and most secret squadron, number 617, stand in silence before a blackboard covered in chalk lines and code words. At the front, Wing Commander Guy Gibson, just 24 years old but already a veteran of over 170 sorties, lights a cigarette and begins to speak. "Gentlemen," he says, his voice steady but low. "Tonight, we attack the Ruhr dams." A murmur passes through the room. For months, rumors had swirled of a weapon so strange that even the mechanics didn't know what to call it. Now the truth is laid bare. A perfectly spherical bomb that would skip across water like a stone, hit a dam's wall, sink to a preset depth, and explode. Its inventor, Barnes Wallis, a quiet, bespectacled engineer from Vickers, had called it upkeep. The men simply call it the bouncing bomb. Outside, under the cold moon, the modified Lancaster bombers glisten like dark whales. Each carries one of the massive weapons slung beneath its belly, rotating on a motor to achieve the perfect backspin. They've been stripped of armor, turrets, and even excess radio gear, all to carry this single bomb and enough fuel to reach the heart of Germany and back. At 21:28 hours, the first engines roar to life. 12 crews, Canadian, Australian, British, climb aboard their aircraft, faces hidden beneath leather helmets and oxygen masks. The operations code name, Chastise. As the first Lancaster, AJG George, rumbles down the runway, Gibson glances at his co-pilot, Pilot Officer Robert Hutchison. "Let's give the Germans something to remember," he mutters. The throttles open, and the bomber lurches into the darkness, its 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines tearing into the night. Below them, England fades into a patchwork of lights, until even those disappear. The moon rises, pale and full, over the North Sea. The Dambusters are on their way. 22:15 hours. The Lancasters of 617 Squadron skim barely 100 feet above the waves of the North Sea, so low that the spray occasionally flicks against the bombers' bellies. There is no moon now, only the pale shimmer of the horizon. Every man knows, radar won't save them tonight. Only silence, altitude, and luck. Navigator Flight Lieutenant Hutchison leans over his chart, illuminated by a red lamp. "Crossing the Dutch coast in 3 minutes, he calls out. Gibson nods. "Keep it tight." The crew brace. Moments later, anti-aircraft guns open up from the dunes near Vlieland, yellow flashes clawing at the darkness. Tracer rounds streak upward, arcing across the Black Sea. Gibson banks hard left, the Lancaster's wingtips nearly scraping the surf. Another round bursts near the tail, rattling the fuselage. Inside the bomb bay, the great steel sphere vibrates, held in its cradle by chains. Flight Engineer Sergeant Trevor Roper glances down nervously. "She's holding, sir." Gibson answers without turning. "She'd better." Behind them, other bombers aren't as lucky. Flight Lieutenant Bill Estelle's AJB strikes a power line near Gills Rygen and bursts into flames, gone in an instant. No time to mourn. The rest press on at treetop height, flying through moonlit mist, dodging church steeples, trees, and even windmills that loom out of the darkness without warning. By midnight, the squadron has crossed into the Ruhr Valley, Germany's industrial heart. Below lies a labyrinth of rivers, reservoirs, and factories lit faintly by blackout lanterns. Somewhere amid them are their targets, the Möhne, Eder, and Sorp dams, each one a vital artery of Nazi power, feeding water and hydroelectric energy to the Ruhr steelworks. In a lonely farmhouse near Möhne Lake, a German sentry smokes a cigarette, unaware of the shadow that passes silently overhead. Gibson's voice crackles over the intercom, "Target in sight. Prepare for run." They descend lower. Much lower. The altimeter needle trembles at 60 feet. The bomb aimer, Flight Lieutenant John Hopgood, kneels over his sight, illuminated by a single bulb. Steady, steady. At 0:28 hours, AJG roars toward the Möhne Dam, its floodlights stabbing through mist and tracer fire. 2 spotlights beneath the fuselage converge into a single white circle on the dark water, the signal that they're at the perfect height. "Bomb gone," Hopgood shouts. The 9,000-pound weapon drops, skipping 5 times across the lake like a skipping stone before striking the dam wall and sinking. A moment later, the night erupts. A column of water shoots skyward, 100 feet high, followed by a rolling boom that shakes the valley. Through the smoke, Gibson sees a gaping wound in the dam's concrete face. "We've done it," someone shouts. But Gibson isn't sure. "We'll go around again," he orders. 0:40 hours. The Möhne Valley is ablaze with chaos. Searchlights crisscross the lake like white swords, their beams glinting off the mist as flak bursts pepper the sky. Gibson circles low, calling in the next aircraft, Flight Lieutenant Hopgood's AJAM. Hopgood lines up, his Lancaster flying so low its wheels nearly skim the water. "Steady, steady." The bomb spins beneath him, whining like a turbine. Then bomb gone. A split second later, a violent flash, flak rips through the cockpit. One engine bursts into flame. Hopgood tries to climb, but the Lancaster is hit again, then again. It limps a mile beyond the dam before erupting in a fireball that lights the valley like dawn. Only 2 of the crew survive. Gibson's jaw tightens. There's no turning back. "Next one in," he orders calmly. One after another, the bombers come in. Martin's AJP, Knight's AJN, Maltby's AJJ. Each one dives into the storm, releasing its weapon with deadly precision. On the final run, Gibson flies parallel to the dam to draw enemy fire, his aircraft shaking under flak bursts. "Keep those guns busy," he shouts. Then it happens. Knight's bomb strikes dead center. The explosion is deeper, heavier. For a second, nothing. Then, from the center of the dam, a dark crack splits open like lightning frozen in stone. The entire wall groans. A thunderous roar fills the valley as the Möhne Dam collapses, unleashing a wall of water 200 feet high. Downriver, villages vanish in seconds. Bridges snap like matchsticks. Locomotives are tossed from tracks as the flood surges toward the Ruhr. The men in the air can only watch in awe. "Good God," whispers Gibson, staring down through the smoke. "We've done it." But their mission isn't over. The Eder Dam still stands, and another formation, McCarthy, Shannon, and Monroe, is heading there through the twisting valleys of central Germany. The Eder is harder. No searchlights, no flak, but surrounded by steep hills and deadly downdrafts. The crews must dive into a narrow gorge, pull up, and drop the bomb at precisely the right moment. The first 2 passes miss. The third, McCarthy's, is perfect. The bomb strikes, sinks, and explodes beneath the surface. The dam shutters, cracks spiderweb across the wall. Then, like glass under pressure, it bursts open. Another torrent of water roars free into the darkness. Gibson's voice comes over the radio. "That's it, boys. Let's get home." The surviving bombers turn west. Of the 19 Lancasters that left Scampton, only 11 will return. 8 crews are lost, 53 men killed. But their raid has changed everything. Dawn, May 17, 1943. The survivors of 617 Squadron cross the English coast at low altitude, engines coughing from exhaustion. Oil leaks streak their fuselages. A few aircraft come in on one engine. One lands with its bombs still attached. At RAF Scampton, ground crews line the runway, straining their eyes toward the pale sky. When Gibson's Lancaster finally touches down, the crowd breaks into cheers, though many faces quickly fall silent as they count the returning planes. 8 are missing. The cost is already clear. Inside the debriefing room, Wing Commander Guy Gibson, eyes hollow, voice hoarse, walks the survivors through every detail. The mood swings between elation and grief. Someone mentions that the Möhne and Eder are confirmed breached. Gibson nods once, then mutters quietly, "We lost damn good men to do it." At Vickers' factory in Surrey, Barnes Wallis listens to the radio report in stunned silence. The dams have been destroyed. His invention worked beyond imagination. But when he learns of the losses, the joy drains from his face. 53 of them, he whispers. My God, he had designed a weapon for precision, not sacrifice. In Germany, chaos reigns. The Möhne and Eder valleys are unrecognizable, factories flooded, power stations offline, railways torn apart. Entire communities vanish beneath the water. Yet within weeks, German engineers and forced laborers repair much of the damage. By August, the dams are functioning again. The raid hasn't crippled the Ruhr as hoped. And yet, in another sense, Operation Chastise achieves what no bomb tonnage ever could: psychological shock. For the first time, the Third Reich's heartland, supposedly invincible, has been pierced by low-flying British bombers using a weapon born from sheer ingenuity. Joseph Goebbels' propaganda ministry bans all mention of the raid for weeks, fearing the blow to morale. Back in Britain, the headlines blaze: Dambusters strike. Newspapers hail it as a triumph of courage and precision. Gibson is awarded the Victoria Cross, and 617 Squadron becomes legend, the RAF's elite precision strike unit. Within a year, they will use tallboys and grand slams to sink the Tirpitz and shatter the viaducts of Europe. But none of them ever forget the night of May 16th. Years later, when asked what he remembered most, one survivor simply said, "The water, the way it moved when the dam broke. Like the earth itself had started breathing." The Dambusters Raid did not end the war, nor could it. But it proved that skill, science, and sheer audacity could strike where brute force could not. It was the moment when men and machines, courage and calculation, met perfectly for a few brief, terrible hours in the dark heart of Germany.